Hi, this is Blake Hardy from Core Physical Therapy. What I'd like to do today is help you understand what to expect when you're going to receive craniosacral therapy and what are some of the basic foundations of it. At a very basic level, craniosacral is about helping the nervous system function the way it's supposed to. There's a natural expansion and contraction that occurs, and we want to make sure all the tissue around your nervous system facilitates that expansion and contraction. So if we look at the head specifically, the head is made up of lots of bones, and there's little seams between each bone called sutures. We want those sutures to be able to move just a little bit. It's almost like a Rubik's Cube, for those of you that are old enough to remember that, and we want the little squares on the Rubik's Cube to just wiggle just a little bit, okay? So I'm gonna put my hands on Kirsten's head, and the first time that we do this, it's very gentle. It's just a very light finger contact behind the ears and in front of the ears on both sides. And what I'm feeling for is how some of these bones or these little cubes move back and forth. So I'm going to move my hand in some specific patterns, and it tells me how certain seams in her head are moving. So I'm going to move both of my hands towards the ceiling, and that tells me one thing. I'm going to move both hands towards the floor, and that tells me a different piece of information, okay? Then we can start to go into other combinations where I might move one hand but not the other. We might put a twist in there. There's several combinations that help us understand how that particular joint moves. That joint is specifically called the spheno-basilar symphysis, and it's right at the base of your skull. So what we're trying to understand is how that joint moves up and down, side to side, or twists. And so there's lots of ways to feel that and understand the implications of it not working right. One of the other very easily accessed areas is around the temporal bones, which is basically your ears. And if you grab your earlobes, just below that is the mastoid process. And that's a great place to hook onto and understand how someone's head is working. So if we get our fingers down here and feel for the tips of that mastoid process and compare it side to side, we can start to understand how that temporal bone is or isn't moving. And if I can move both hands and rotate what we would call externally, I want to see how that feels. And then we're going to rotate what we would call internally and see how that feels, all right? And when we see things not moving the same on both sides, it cues us into where a problem might be. The temporal bone especially can have profound implications on how you feel because there's a lot of nerves associated with it. So it can affect, it could be vision, it could be balance, it can be hearing, as well as just general tone in your body, so that when it's not working right, it just makes your whole nervous system angry, and it shows up as tight muscles other places in your body.